30-second countdown.
Yes, guys, I'm Si. Welcome to Cardiff City World for your post-match reaction show. We'll call it City Till I Die podcast. There you go, on the fly and everything that was. I'm Si, as I mentioned. Welcome back. Welcome to all the new members this week as well. Appreciate you all massively. And most of all, speaking of appreciation, someone who I appreciate the mostest is Mr. Matthew Angel. How are you, mate?
I'm very well, my friend. Very well. Slightly disappointed after today's result, but the performance was better, wasn't it, than Wednesday night? Just so frustrating.
Improvement, mate, wasn't it? But also, do you know what really grates on me? Is recently QPR, Preston, and Stoke today are all terrible. They're all really, really bad, and I'm just like, how are we not beating them? You know, it frustrates me. And then I will start off with a slight negative. Like I saw, and I've said it as well. It was improved today, but they'd have had to be so incredibly bad today to be worse than Wednesday that it was almost like the only way was up. And also, I feel like determination and a bit of passion and fighting for the badge should be the bare minimum. But apart from that, I did think it was good. And, mate, to be honest with you, I've been banging the drum since summer, at least, that we should be playing that system, like a 3-4-3. I think it suits all the players because we've got a lack of wingers. We've got a lot of players who like to sort of get in the little pockets behind a striker. We've got loads of good centre-backs. And maybe in certain games, certain teams, you might be able to get the young fullbacks who we've kind of all want to see in that system with a little bit of pressure off them. But I thought it was Willock's best game. I thought Matty was all right. I thought Siopis was excellent. I thought they were all pretty good, mate, really. Alnwick is probably the one who hasn't had the best game. It was weird, though, right? Because he made 2 mistakes, 2 goals. But he also saved us several times in big saves. So
I think that's what's keeping him in the side at the moment, and he's a good shot stopper, and 2 or 3 times today again he'd come out, and like I said, he saved us. But I wouldn't say the first one was a howler. I just think the way it bounced just in front of him. Really, you'd expect him to deal with that a bit better. So a little bit, and I think he'd probably say himself that he should deal with that a bit better. And the last one, I don't know whether it is. He just wanted to try. I don't know, but there was no need for him to come off his line.
So, as someone who's spent a lot of time with goalkeeper coaches and coaching my boy, who was my oldest boy now, who was a goalkeeper, and because he was in an academy, he's up to sort of 15, 16. I was used to coach, we used to be coaching goalkeeper stuff daily for all week, for years. And I just think he's in his head, he's thought, I'm going to come get this and claim it, take the pressure off, and then, fall on the floor, waste of time, it's all over. But about halfway to going, he's realised he's not getting anywhere near it. And as a keeper, they kind of tell you, if you're not going to get there, just clean everyone out. But unfortunately, the guy who headers it is in front of him, and the guy he cleans out is nowhere near the ball anyway. If he stays on his line, he just heads it to him, he picks it up, and that's it. It would have beaten him as a shot if he doesn't come off his line. No. But without him, they probably score before that. A couple of minutes before that, he made a really good one-on-one save. So
it's just the frustrating thing is now is it was exactly the same against Coventry. A silly penalty 2 minutes before the end. We're in a position where where we are because of the performances that we've had, and we just can't afford to switch off for the last couple of minutes in games, and it's so frustrating. But a point is better than nothing, I suppose.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? Because like going into Christmas and we haven't won an away game, like it's mad. But look, I thought there was. Let's go from the start. Like the team selection was interesting. As I said earlier, I'm very happy to see the change in system. I think it's overdue. I know they drilled that system all through the summer pretty much, but it was going to be like a backup system. So when you come up against teams who play 3 or 5, you match them up sort of thing. But it was good. Definitely, it had been drilled and they played it in a couple of the friendlies. And then it just disappeared and never came. When I saw this, and I knew Thursday that they had been working on it this week. So it was clear that they were going to go for they were changing the system. I wasn't sure if they would go with it this week because they've obviously only had 2 days since the Wednesday game, but they did. I thought it was the right decision. I think I did raise a couple of eyebrows when I saw that Chambers had retained his place, I got to say, because I did think he was that bad on Wednesday that probably should have been dropped. But I thought he was very good today. So you got to give him hats off. He had an absolute mare the other day. He wasn't much better in the game or two before that, but he was very, very good today. If I'm well, so mate, I'm asking what the is going on? I really am.
Yeah, it was interesting one. I think we discussed in the week, or it might have been afterwards. I'm not sure. But the fact Perry NG is kind of that dip in form of kind of crept back with him. Because I don't think he's had anybody there to kind of push him, if that makes sense. Now, I know Renamote have come in a couple of games now, and I thought again, I can't speak highly enough of him because as far as I was concerned, at the end of last season, he was done and dusted. He was gone type of thing. But I think he's knuckled down hard.
I think he thought that as well, though, mate, in fairness to him. From what I gather, he said his goodbyes to, friends and the team and that. He expected to be gone. Didn't materialise. And that's got to be mentally, it's like having a leaving party and then not leaving. Do you know what I mean? Mentally, that's got to fry your brain a little bit. So I do think, yes, he's been poor. And I've been super critical of it. I feel like all I've talked about this week is how bad he's been. But, he has been poor. But then also, there's lots which go into it. I know that on Wednesday after the game, there was some words between, the dressing room and stuff. And you'd expect that, in a dressing room after such a bad, it was a disgraceful performance. Let's not beat around the bush. On Wednesday, it was poor. So I'm sure there was some very honest conversations. I was really interested to see him not in the squad at all. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was on the bench. I wouldn't have been surprised if anyone was on the bench, really, other than maybe, O'Dowda and a couple of others, but generally speaking. But I was surprised that he wasn't in the squad at all. What did you when you saw that team on paper before the game? What was your thoughts? Were you like, "Oh, good"?
My initial gut reaction was I thought we left too many of our key players on the bench, like Robertson, Colwell, Robinson. Matey playing up front on his own. I'll be honest. Like I said, I thought, it's going to be a tough slog this afternoon. But credit to them all today. I thought, as you mentioned at the start, Matey, I thought he had a decent performance. He's been slated over the last couple of weeks for giving the old shush to the fans away at Coventry and things. So he's kind of, he's made a rod for his own back now, really. But I think other than scoring a goal today, he worked hard for us. And, he could have scored a goal. I think he scuffed his shot, which went into the ground first and then hit the crossbar. But I was happy with his performance today. Obviously, I'd be happier if he could do a little bit more, but it is what it is. But yeah, I was slightly concerned when I seen it first of all. But I think the way we set up O'Dowda down our left flank with Willock, I thought Willock had his best game he've had for us now, and I just think he needs that run in the team now to help boost his confidence.
Yeah, and I mean with that system, it should be easier to accommodate him, I think, as well, because you have 2 10s off the striker. Let me ask you a question, mate. Was there anyone who you thought was unlucky not to be in the starting 11?
I'd have to say Robertson then, because I thought he was, he's the kid's quality, I think, but I like it in the sense that, Rhys is picking squads and he's not, even though he's got this reputation now, Robertson, he's come from Man City or whatever, this, that, and the other. No one's too big for their boots and he's not afraid to put anybody on the bench type of thing, which I think is a message that probably needs to be sent out, because perhaps some of them have been a little bit
too comfortable, and
they think, oh, I'm going to be playing on Saturday.
I don't think he is, mind. I got to say, I don't think you'd apply that to you, and I don't think you were saying that. But you are right. There's a few in there which you feel like they're a little bit too comfortable with they're just going to play every week. And I did think Robertson was unlucky. And I think I said on social media earlier, Robertson to me is the first name on a team sheet every week, because I think he's our best player. But you've got to give him a break now and again. And I want to see Siopis, Robertson, and Colwell. I want to see that as a 3. But I'm sure we'll see it at some point. Just sort of on the starting lineup stuff, because I'm kind of interested in it. O'Dowda works really well as a wing back. I thought Rinamoto did well, but I don't think attacking wise he's a right wing back.
No.
And in the home games, I really would like to see Pacquiao or someone get a go. One of the younger lads. We got 2 or 3 really good young fullbacks, and if you give them a go in a wing back system, they just got a little bit of pressure off them, especially at home. And I think that pace and energy would help us. I also don't think it'll be interesting, because I know a few people said Perry NG has got a hamstring issue, but it'll be interesting if we stick with that system where he plays, because I think if you play in a Sheffield United top of the league, then you could put Perry NG as right wing back as part of a 5 effectively. But if you're looking to be more expansive and get at teams a bit more, and you're going to be a 3, 4, and a 2 and a 1, and have the wing backs push up a bit, I don't think he suits that. And then you've got a decision to make: who is it? Because again, I don't think Rinamoto's attacking wise is probably the best option. Tanner's not fit, so you're loose with the kind of options if you want the right wing back to be pushing up. I do think
obviously we got Sheffield United at home next, haven't we? So it'll be interesting to see. Do you think he'll go with the same type of similar setup against Sheffield United, bearing in mind their top?
Should, top league, I think I would bring Fish in, mate, as part of a 3, probably for Chambers if I was doing it, but because I think Fish and Darland have got a little bit more pace. So if you can have them to either side of Gutas, O'Dowda on the left, and then Sheffield United is going to be tough, so probably Rinamoto on the right. I think it's a good system, because I think it's so versatile, mate. If you want to push up and be a bit more expansive, you can have the wing backs push right up. Siopis will just set. The other midfielder can push up. You've got 2 10s. The wing backs give you width, and then as soon as you lose the ball, you just get back into shape, and it's a 5. It's really flexible, and it's really good for creating overloads in different parts of the pitch, which is the buzzword, and managers love it these days. So I hope
you talk about losing the ball there, then, right? There's a question I wanted to ask you, and I think I might have mentioned it to you when I spoke to you at half time. What's your what's your thoughts at the moment regarding us defensively? Then, in the sense that, for me, I think we stand off them too much. We don't press and we don't close them down nowhere near as much as we did when he first took over. I don't think. I don't know if that's I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because it's got to be a tactical thing. Because if it's not a tactical thing and we weren't pressing, then he'd be he's screaming on the touchline to do it. So he's got to be happy with the kind of pressing shapes and patterns that they're doing. I agree with you, mate. I think we look our most dangerous when we're really proactive in trying to win the ball and win the ball back, when it gets turned over. And I also think the best way to get the best out of Robinson, Colwell, El Ghazi, people like that, is in the transition when you win it, is if you can move it to those players quickly when the opposition players are out of position, those players can be deadly. Like, they're really, really good. So I would like to see it become a bit more reminiscent of when he first took over, particularly in this system, because I think you've got cover everywhere if they do play through your press. You've got the sort of the 1 and the 2 up front, and then you've got the 2 midfielders and the wing backs, and then you've got the 3 centre backs. So I think you can afford to press as long as you go together. And if one goes to the ball, the others cut off the passing lanes. It's happy days, like. But I do think we're too. What's the word? Like I said it the other day, especially at home. We give teams so much time to settle into games, and like just first 20 minutes particularly, we just let them settle into it, knock it about a bit, get used to the pitch, to the game. I'd like to see us be a bit more in your face at the start of games, particularly at home. I understand it away, sit in a bit quiet in the crowd, etc. But at home, I want to see us press higher. Interesting, mate. Another game under Omar Risa where the opposition crowd turned against, or began to turn against their team, and we didn't put them to the sword. Because to me, when you're up and you're winning, and it's the second half, you're winning the game, and the opposition crowd is like booing and turning on the team, you've got to put them to the sword and really get at them. And that's when you've got to go and get another goal. And we did it against Bristol, and we did it again today. Just sat in a little bit. Like, I thought Stoke were really poor again today, mate. Like, just as I thought, was poor on Wednesday, Preston. But let's try. I want to try to stick to the positives, because I feel like we've had a lot of negatives recently. El Ghazi, mate. I thought we really saw today what a clever player he is. He's still not like up to speed at his very best, but he is getting there. And I think you really saw like how good he is, or how good he can be on the ball in the little pockets and finding those, like little balls in behind and stuff. Do you think we will see the absolute full tilt El Ghazi before the end of the season?
It's a difficult one, because we all know what he's been. He's played for some great clubs, hasn't he? But for me, again, I'm not saying he's over the hill or he's past it, but obviously he's been out a long time for injury, didn't play football for a long time. And to come back to play at the level we're currently playing at in the Championship is it's difficult for anybody. I just wonder if it's a little bit too much or a little bit too late. I don't even know. He's got to be 30, early 30s, to be.
Yeah, I think he's 29, 30. But yeah, I agree with you. And he had such a big gap. Like, it was like a year, 18 months or whatever it was of not playing. Yeah. That's a long, at that age, it is a long time. But I do think I think he can be a weapon that we can utilize. Maybe you don't get,
definitely.
You don't get out of him, but you might get an hour, you might get, off the bench, you might create.
And the good thing for me today is when he did get taken off, you could tell he wasn't happy, but he didn't throw his toys out with the pram like some of the others have done over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah,
I think
he was very,
body language is massive, isn't it? You can tell, and you could tell he wasn't happy coming off, but he shook the player going on, shook his hand or give him high fives or whatever. He shook the manager's hand, which for me is what they should be doing. Show us you're disappointed in your body language, but have the respect and support of your teammate going on for you and the manager who's made that decision. So I'm go on.
I was going to say, Jonathan's just made a comment about what I wanted to ask you about next. Wilfred Kanga back in the squad today. I saw a lot of people on social media saying, how has he come on before Robinson and before Reindorf? But you know what, mate, right? Fair play to Omar Rhys. It's a big call to bring him on before Robinson particularly, but, both of them. I thought Kanga did quite well. He did, he wasn't incredible, but he worked hard. For the first time, I thought he held the ball up, won a couple of headers. When he did get a hold of the ball and held it up, he'd get a nice little layoff to Siopis to have a shot. If that's an indication of what he's going to do going forward, maybe we will see a bit of a redemption from him. Because I actually think at his best, he's probably better than Matty. The problem is, in a Cardiff City shirt, we have never seen anywhere near his best. Whether it's an attitude thing, a form thing, a confidence thing, whatever, we've never seen it. So you could only base it on his previous performances. But I thought he did all right today, and he looked motivated, which is a big thing for me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. But, spot on. 100% agree with you. I think, I've seen a couple of things saying, why have we taken Matty off and brought a replacement on? Should we have brought somebody on to, perhaps...
But he didn't play up front, Kanga. He did for a bit, but then he went out on the right. And we were playing with, Robertson and Ruben as, almost false nines, which I thought, again, and that, I know a lot of people being, criticising Rhys for a variety of reasons. He's inexperienced and things like this and tactically naive and all these usual things being trotted out. And I think a lot of it is not anger with him, it's anger with the club. But what I will say is, I think he's shown that he is tactically flexible throughout his reign. He's switched to 5 at the back, 3 at the backs, 4-4-2, 4-3-3. He's done different things. And he's made some big calls, mate. I might not have agreed with him dropping Robinson to the bench, but that's a big shout, It's a big shout to drop Ruben. It's a big, I thought Willock was excellent. And I think Willock prefers to have that bit of freedom as a number 10. And he'll still drift out wide. But I think he likes the freedom of not being...
It's got to give him confidence, having O'Dowda playing behind him, knowing that, how strong and, how good he is with the ball at his feet as well. So, yeah, down that left, we looked really strong now. It's just... If we could have the same, strength and depth on the right-hand side, I think we'd be all right.
It's funny though, right? We just don't seem to create a lot of chances. If you look at the goals we scored recently, it's a lot of long shots, tap-ins. But when you look at the team, we've got quite creative squad. El Ghazi, Ruben, Robertson, Willock. Tanner, all these people, they're all creative players. So maybe this system, if he sticks with it, which I really hope he does, because I think as we get used to it, it'll get better going forward. I can see us creating more chances from open play using this system than I can in that 4-2-3-1. Because I think the 4-2-3-1, all right, it suits Tanner because he's more of a old school winger. O'Dowda generally will play left back more than he plays left wing. He's an old school winger. But El Ghazi, Willock, Ruben, they all want to drift in. They all want a bit of a free roll. And I think, I just think that maybe this system will help unlock some of the what we've seen of Willock at QPR. It will unlock the glimpses we've seen at Ruben. It'll maybe unlock El Ghazi at his absolute best. Maybe it helps Kanga because he'll have more support around him and creating space for other people. I am hopeful.
I just want to pop this comment up. At the game on Wednesday, took Josh into Greg's to get something before the game, and this chap bumped into me, and we were talking about the podcast. So nice to meet you Wednesday, buddy, and thanks for tuning in and supporting us. Much appreciated.
Top man, Hopton is, he's a good lad.
That's all you need to do now is become a member. Get on it.
Yeah, no. Everyone just become members. Right, Joe Rose, mate. I gave him some grief on Wednesday, deservedly so. It's not a personal thing. It's only about his performance. And he was bad on Wednesday. Like, he wasn't the only one, but he was bad. Very bad. What did you make of his performance today?
Solid, I thought. I think he's always got a chance of sometimes he'd give away some silly free kicks, doesn't he? And he's always got a risk of having a yellow card and stuff. But again, positive today. I think I was surprised they kept him on for as long as they did mine, but I don't think, out and out, I thought he was solid performance. I much prefer him taking corners, if I'm completely honest. I think his set piece his delivery is a lot better than Robertson, and shall we say. But I just think that type of game, I wouldn't say it was a physical game, was it? It was quite an open game. The first 15, 20 minutes, it was kind of end to end. You thought, bloody hell, if we could see a lot to go, we just seen 4 goals in the end. But I thought he'd done well, and having somebody next to him with so much energy and CO, I think that probably helps and takes a little bit of pressure off him. Yeah. But overall, I thought he done well for us.
Yeah, much better. And look, the one thing I will say about Joe Rose, and like I've said all season really when talking about him, is I don't think he's a guy who's going to start every game for us now. What I will say is, like, he is a guy who cares deeply about Cardiff City. And he is a guy who, when the going gets tough and when the fans are pissed off and they're giving grief to people, and I'm sure they all get a load of abuse on social media, he's a guy who in the dressing room is trying to hold it all together. He's keeping everyone on the same page. And, when tough words need to be said, they will do exactly the same, mate. And I think he deserves credit because it's not always easy to come back from a bit of a horror show on Wednesday individually and then put in a solid performance like today. He's not my preferred midfield option, but that's me. And I think just because I just think he half a yard slower than he was, and I think a lot of the time his first thought is to retain possession, which isn't the worst idea. Like, it's not the worst thing. But like Turnbull's first thought is to break the lines with a pass or to carry it forward. And I think that's why we look better with him in there. What I would like to see is Siopis playing like that today alongside Robertson. I think that can be really, really exciting, productive midfield duo, and then bringing Rolls in for like the last 20 minutes, last half hour to retain possession and to keep hold of the ball. Because if we've got a Siopis and Robertson, and then you've got like Ruben and say El Ghazi, or Willock behind whoever the striker is, Robertson is someone who can break lines, can carry the ball and get it to those two behind the striker. And then if you've got O'Dowda and whoever on the right creating the width, I think that can get the best out of all of them.
Yeah.
And I'm quite excited by the system, mate, because like I said earlier, it's so versatile. And I just think that it suits the team, I think there's not one player in that side today and on the bench today either that it doesn't suit. Every single player could play a Bagan, could play as one of the 3, or he could play as a wing back. Collins, probably better as one of the 3, but he could play wing back. Reindorf could play as the striker. Kanga, who else was on the bench? Robinson could play one of the 10s, or he could play as a striker. I'm trying to think who else was on the bench. Sorry, Fish could play as one of the three, or he could play as a wing back probably.
That's a question I was going to ask you when you're talking about the bench. Obviously, on the bench we had Kanga, Robinson, and Reindorf, all three attacking options.
Good.
I think obviously with the injuries we got midfield wise, I think we was pretty bare bones really, weren't we?
Yeah, do you know what, mate? Right, and I know like some people will agree, some people will disagree. For me, on the bench, I want to see a keeper, a centre back, a utility player there. Then, so I want like an out and out centre back, say Fish, or say Fish in today's instance, and then I want to see like a Bagan or a Raheem Conte type player who can cover fullback, centre back, maybe a winger, whatever, like a couple of different positions. And then after that, a central midfielder. And then I want all the other options to be creative, attacking options, pacey options, whatever it may be. And when you look at Cardiff's under 23s and their 18s, there's some wicked, like wide options or attacking options that I'm not saying they're ready to start, mate, but they're just waiting for a chance. Yeah. And they are the sorts of players who can genuinely be good options off the bench.
It'd be interesting. Obviously, it's one thing now that obviously Reindorf's in and around training with the senior squad, but I wonder how many the other players that perhaps are on the fringes, like Capaccio now. There's a youngster in the under 18s who scored a hat-trick this morning. Somebody in the chat will tell me, yeah, that's him. How much are they getting? Looking around the first team, like you said, they're not going to start. But even just being around that environment is going to help them develop and come on leaps and bounds, I think. So I think next time you have a chat with Percy, perhaps that's a question you could perhaps ask him is, you haven't got to name names or anything, but are the youngsters from the 18s and 23s, are they getting involved in training with the seniors type of thing?
So I don't want to offend anyone who I do speak to, but I don't ask my friends about the stuff. So people who I'm genuinely friends with, like Darren, I don't ask him. I never ask him anything.
Well, I'll ask him, man.
Yeah, you crack on, mate. But no, but it's because I don't want to like.
No, I know. I understand
friendship. Like at the end of the day, and like I'll say like I'll give him my opinion of what I think of today's game, say, and I'll say, oh, like that was good. So and so's doing well done, whatever. But I'll never say like, why is this happening or what's going on? Because it's disrespectful, mate. Like I would never. But like in the 23s, right, 21s now, and you got Tom Davis and Ronan Capaccio, both exceptional fullbacks. Tom Davis can play, centre back as well. Dylan Lawler, centre back captain, who's actually I think only like 18 and he's captain. Exceptional centre back. Great on the ball. Louis Giles, delivery and crossing is superb. You've got all sorts of players like in the midfield option. Cody Tews is a good option. In the striker positions, then you obviously got Reindorf. You've got a few others. So, mate, the 18s is almost more exciting in the attacking options. There's some real good players. There's a lad up front, Daniel Ola. Like in the 18s, mate, he's 6'4", absolute balling out, mate. He is a real handful. Can play on the wing, can play striker. I want to see these guys on the bench, mate. I really do. Like, to me, I just think, if you can get a Manny Barton or a Daniel Ola or whoever on the bench, having that exciting young option is a bonus because they will come on and play without fear and they will be direct and they'll be attacking and it means so much to them that they care. And like Manny Barton's quality, like he's scoring goals and he's in form now. He scored a hat-trick today. That's the time. Bring him in. Get him on the bench against Sheffield United. just to get him in there around there, like a bit of reward. Well done, you're doing well recently. Come with the first team.
Do you think you'll do? Obviously, and another question I was going to ask you, and I think I had a discussion with Rob about it on Wednesday night about the FA Cup and the fact that we're playing an FA Cup game against Sheffield United away on a Thursday night. The FA Cup is not the FA Cup it was 15, 20 years ago, is it?
No, it's not. But
it gives us the ideal opportunity, doesn't it, to see them youngsters out on the field against a decent Sheffield United side. Even if Sheffield United put their second string out, then should we say they're still going to be at a decent level for our youngsters to go up against. Like,
do you know what I'd really like to see in the cup if we get like a favourable draw at some point, like like a lower league team? I'd like to see us. We mentioned the other week about we can field like a team of under 25s. Who some of them were already in the first team, some of them are on the brink. I'd love to see us do that. So like keep Alnwick or even give Howworth a go in goal, and then go like 3 at the back with Darland, Fish, and say Dylan Lawler. Bring him in like 3 young centre backs, or even put like Bagan in there to say maybe Bagan's a more sensible option. Like Bagan on the left, Darland and Fish. Kepakia was right wing back, Giles is left wing back, Robertson, and obviously Turnbull's out, so you find but like maybe one of the youngsters in there, Ruben in the 10, Tanner, or maybe like a Manny Barton or someone on the right, who could play on the left, like young, if Isaac fit, Keane Ashford, exactly, Keane Ashford. Isaac Davis up front. I would love to see that. I have experience on the bench, but I would love to see that for a cup game because it's exciting, mate. And the Christmas countdown today was about Paul Parry, and one of my favourite things about Paul Parry is how direct he was. He played, made nearly 200 appearances for Cardiff, was committed. He was direct. He used to beat men, score goals, whatever. But when he made his debut for Hereford at 17, and then he signed for Cardiff like not that long later, a bit of a year or two, but like he wasn't old when he came to us. When he signed for us, he wasn't ready to play Championship. He jumped up 3 leagues. He wasn't ready to play first team football. He signed for us, and under 48 hours later, he started for City, and it took him a game or two to get settled. But boy, oh boy, did he go on and have a real first team impact. And sometimes these boys just need a chance. Yeah. And back in the day, you would give young players a go. And I just worry that we got this academy and we got these highly rated youngsters. And I just worry that we're not going to give them an opportunity to play first team football. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's another one. I know
energy rubs off on the other players as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I do think, do the club look at it from a certain point of view in the sense that, social media, it is the way it is nowadays. Are they scared of playing them so that they don't get bombarded with abuse if they have a poor game initially, and that kind of sets them back? But I think at the end of the day, right, and there's a saying that, if you're good enough, you're old enough type of thing. And I think it's just one of them things you've got to go with, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%, mate. I just had a really funny text sent to me, but I can't read it out.
So there was a comment I wanted to bring up off Louise. She asked, do we think Ethan Hovarth will get a crack next game? Okay.
No. And I don't think he should either. And the reason this, right, is if you think back a few years, cast your memories back to when we had Alex Smithies and who was the other one? I can't remember his name. But we had effectively had two number ones, and we tried to juggle it and kind of give them a couple of games each and this and that. In my opinion, and I think most people would agree, it doesn't work. You've got to have a number one, and at some point in the season, they might have a rocky spell, and you've got to stick with them. I think most people agree that Howworth probably shouldn't have been number one when he was. So, look, Alnwick was not great on Wednesday. He's made one error today, and then, one probably should have done better. But he's also made several game-saving saves. His distribution today, I thought, was exceptional. So, do we bin him off? I don't think we need to. I think that would be a massive risk. When you think back to when Halworth was playing at the start of the season, he was not only ropey, but also, so he was making individual errors, but he was also making the defence nervous. So for me, it's a no. But I don't make the decisions, mate. So
no. I just think the defence in front of him the defensive line then looks a lot better and more confident when Jack Alnwick is in goals rather than Hovarth. And I just think he's a better shot stopper and, better with his feet, really. Although sometimes I do feel he could distribute it a little bit quicker, especially Wednesday night. I thought we were so slow passing the ball. But, it is what it is. I much prefer him between the sticks.
I actually think I said this in the summer, I think we need a keeper, like a younger, like early 20s, mid-20s keeper who's established or ready for first team football. But, because you got two keepers who are, both probably think they're number one. I disagree with, Clue has said there. He said Halworth earned the number one spot and deserved it at the time. I couldn't disagree more. I thought it was almost outrageous that he had it last year ahead of when Bullock used to just pick him constantly. Like when Halworth came in January, wasn't it? And you could see that he was just waiting for Alnwick to make one mistake, and then Halworth was going to be in straight away because that was his guy. And I don't
think they see eye to eye, and this is not official, or I haven't heard anything, but you look at back when we had that runner son in or whatever his name was, and he
was clear he was trying to get his own keeper in, wasn't it?
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
I just don't think...
all opinions welcome, mate.
And
it's I get it. And in fairness to me, but in fairness, I backed Ethan Halworth. I said all along, I think he's a very good championship keeper, but by the time he kind of, by the time it sort of all came about, and it was his time to be dropped. And I think Alnwick was injured, wasn't he, last year for a bit as well. That injury seemed to go on forever. And I think we had a conversation actually just around February, March time. It's is he injured or is he pissed off because he got dropped? And you never know, do you? But I get it, and everyone's entitled to an opinion. A couple of things I want to... So Louise says there, give him a little break. He'll come back an even better keeper. She said maybe Alnwick has, he's played every game. Maybe he's mentally tired. Yeah,
his missus has just had a baby as well, hasn't he? Perhaps he's not getting much sleep.
I get it, because he has played every game, and like you say, his missus had a baby. Maybe he is just a bit mentally tired. So I'm not against Halworth. I think Halworth is decent. His distribution is not as good, and I worry about him when he gets those back passes. But I wouldn't be like, oh my God, he's in. What's going on, sort of thing. Yeah. Jonathan makes a very good point. Runnison was worse. Yes, he was very, very poor. Renario says Rhys are out. This is the Hudson period all over again. No, I don't think that.
I don't think that either.
I would love Tony Mowbray in, but he's got cancer. He ain't going. He's not coming back into football anytime soon.
Even though we're not picking up points at the moment, and I've said this on previous pods, the way we're trying to play the game is completely different. I know, we're still on a run now without a win in 7 games, but the type of football we're trying to play is completely different now than what it was under Bullock. When we had a poor performance under Bullock, we had a poor performance. I know Wednesday night was shocking, but we're still creating chances. We still, under Bullock, we was creating jack shit. What was it? Was we?
Not if you listen to his press conference. We were creating all sorts of chances, controlling the game, creating chances.
Another,
you are right, mate, 100%.
Another question I wanted to ask, sorry, but to jump in, is obviously, is well known now, obviously, Turnbull had an operation on his hamstring. He's going to be out for a while. I just wanted to know what your opinion is, and I think it was a question I asked Rob in the week as well, about the injuries we've got and how they keep having setbacks. And like Isaac Davis was set back, and now he's set back again. Rambo's injuries is being pushed back. Atete's has been pushed back. That's got to be, for me as a fan, that's concerning. I don't know if you've probably thought, I can see the smirk on your face, so you probably have thought about it. So what's your opinion on it all? Are we pushing these players too hard?
I don't have one.
Fuck off, you do.
I met it. Injuries part of the game, and I think the medical department.
Yeah, but it just seems to me you could understand one or two having like little setbacks and that, but for every player that we've pretty much got on the sidelines, all these injuries are just getting extended and extended. It's bonkers.
I think the medical department is doing a great job. They're trying their very best to keep everyone fit and get them ready for games. And I think we should get behind them and support them.
Happy days. We'll leave it at that.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. Clue says, did Alnwick the world of good last season when Runnison came in? I mean, it did do Alnwick a world of good to have a little break. And I like, now that I think of it, and Louis said about like maybe a break will do him good as well. And like you're saying about it, his missus had a baby, maybe a break would be good. But what I will add to what Clue said about Runnison coming in, it was good for Alnwick. It was not good for the team because Runnison was awful. And if you cast your mind back to the start of the season, Howvirth wasn't good. Now, hopefully, the break has done him good because I do think there's a keeper there. And I think as a shot stopper, particularly, I think he can be a very good keeper at this level. It's just whether he can, like he did have a bad start to the season. But we'll see. We'll see. I think, Cardiff were very unlucky today not to get 3 points. And I think if you get 3 points today, the general mood and feeling around the way we played is different in there.
We just need that win. You look at QPR, they won against us a couple of weeks back and they haven't lost since.
Yeah,
they come right back out of it.
But I would like to think that those players now are all experienced enough to know, look, we played well today. We've just got undone by a mistake at the end. But do you know what I mean? It's just like...
Yeah, no, agree with
no, Clue, I'm not saying Rennison's the same. I'm just saying that, like, if Howvirth comes in and makes another couple of howlers like he did at the start of the season, it could undermine the team as a whole. Like, the last thing we need is for the morale and the... just to go on to... If he comes in and has a couple of worldies, that can go the other way as well, can't it? So, it is where it is, isn't it?
I don't think we haven't slated Hovarth. Like you said, he wouldn't have been at the clubs he's been at if he weren't a decent keeper. He's an American international. I think he was at Forest. Did he get promoted with Luton as well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a decent keeper. But
I'm sure that Omar Risa and the coaches will consider. They're not blind. They will see that Alnwick has had a couple of games where he hasn't looked as solid. He's made a couple of mistakes. So I'm sure they'll consider it. At the moment, I wouldn't do it. But then, if he has a bit of a mare or makes another mistake against Sheffield United, maybe, I don't know. Being a keeper is so different mentally. And it's so difficult, mate, because, if Alex Robertson makes a mistake and gives the ball away, there's another 2 phases of play or another 4 or 5 players to beat before the other team scores or gets a chance. Keeper makes a mistake, 9 times out of 10 it's a goal. The mental strain and pressure on a keeper is like a different level to all the other players. Yeah. So I do, whilst they're professionals and all that, I do think that you can speculate, I suppose, or whatever, that maybe he does need a break. Like, I don't think that's outrageous to say. If you're Omar Rhys, mate, Sheffield United, what are you doing? Same 11? Any changes, tactical or personnel?
Well, it all depends on injury-wise, really. Any training in the weekend now, but I would like to think you'll go with the same system, especially playing at home. I don't, but again, it's Sheffield United, and it's going to be a difficult game. Whether he'll change the formation and be a bit more conservative at home, I don't know. Wouldn't be surprised, but. Yeah, I don't know. It's a difficult one. I pretty, if everybody's fit who started today, I think you'll probably go with a similar type of side with the strength and depth then coming off the bench, maybe. The only change I would probably make would be start Robertson and have Joe Rolls coming off the bench, perhaps.
Yeah, and I do think Ruben looks so much more dangerous coming off the bench. Like, Stoke couldn't get near him today when he came on. They just couldn't get near him at all. Like, even when he wasn't, trying to create something, there was a couple of times he kind of just beat a couple of men and then sort of turned and just kept hold of the ball towards the end. Yeah. Like, they couldn't get the ball. Like, they couldn't get the ball off him, but he never seems
I think we're just desperate for a striker, because I think at times today we're good going down the flanks, and we cross the ball in, and 9 times out of 10, there's no one there. And I just think we need an out.
Little glimpse of Kanga. Like, I really thought that Kanga's 10 minutes was the best 10 minutes we've seen from him. So let me ask you a question. Do you think there is any chance between now and the end of January that we see Kanga become what we all hoped he would be before the end of the window, where we can send him back?
I'd love to say yes, but going on what we've seen so far, it doesn't fill me with confidence. Of course, if he's got the Cardiff shirt on, I'm busting the gut. I want him to do well for us. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to stand here and yes, his performances haven't been great, and we all know that. But if he's out there wearing a shirt, you're going to cheer for him. You want him to go on and do well, type of thing. So I hope we can. But it won't surprise me if we kind of say thanks for what you've done, and depending on what's out there, what's about. There's a question in the comments I wanted to bring up now off Jonathan, because there was a question I wanted to ask you, and it'll be an interesting one. But I think it'll depend what's out there on the market. If we can get somebody else in, perhaps we might let him go back, type of thing.
I got to be honest, right? I know we were interested in him in the summer, in Al Hamidi from Ipswich. We were interested in him in the summer. Because he hasn't played a lot, he's been on the bench. He has played off the bench, but he's been on the bench a lot. If we had the opportunity to sign him on loan and maybe send Kanga back, I would probably take it, only because I really rate Al Hamidi, especially at championship level. He's versatile, he's big, he's strong, he's quick. And I think this system would be ideal for him. So if he specifically was available and was willing to come, then I would be definitely up for that. Jeff says he thinks that Kanga can be successful in this system. So a change of system can open up.
Like I said, we want him to be a success. There's nobody in that Cardiff squad you want to go out to fail. We all want him to go out and put a shift in and do the best they can. Just at the moment, we just haven't seen it. And like you said, fingers crossed, we'll see it by come the end of January. But
be nice, wouldn't it?
Yes, it will.
Right. Jonathan's question was, what do you think the possibilities of Tate coming on loan to Huddersfield to make way for the injured Simic to come back?
I thought I read that he was out for the season, Simic, with his injury.
No, I don't think that is. I think he's just out for like a month or two, I think it was. I'll double check that now. But I actually said this the other day. I think it might have been on the Sunday when I think it was with Paul. I I can't remember what show it was, but basically I said we should send Kanga back and then bring Simic back, because Simic is not playing he's injured now, but he hasn't been playing much because of the numbers that Kovac have got in the striker position. There's like 7 or 8 strikers, so it's like the lone striker's not always going to be the one that's picked, is he? I think with Simic, the only thing we've got to go on is what we've seen previously. I've seen him play Champions League football and play it quite well. He's big. We obviously fancied him. Sunderland wanted to start him as a striker. They're at the top of the Championship, so I tend to think that even if you don't trust Cardiff's recruitment, which was pretty good in the summer, in my opinion, give 1 or 2. The fact that Sunderland wanted him as well probably indicates that he's got something about him. But yeah, you got to make way for him. I'd bring him back, mate. He's not playing really at Kovac, so you may as well bring him back. So if that means that Tete goes out and Simic comes in, or Kanga goes back.
I was looking forward to a Tete coming back, because again, he's got something about him. And I hope he doesn't sell him. I hope he loan him. Yeah, I was just looking forward to seeing how his confidence and how he would react to, Rhys being in charge and things, and see if, because obviously he's had a big impact on a lot of players. They all speak very highly of him. Just interesting to see how, it would have changed his game, really.
Yeah, so he's out until the new year. He's come back to Cardiff to have treatment. So I'm sure they'll have a chat with him. It'll be interesting, mate, because we need strikers. And I mean, if you loan a Tete, send Kanga back, get Simic back in, Isaac Davis is coming back in, and then maybe get someone like an Al Hamidi, suddenly you look like you've got some options. You got Simic, who's a bit more of a big guy. You've got Isaac Davis to run in behind, and then you've got Al Hamidi, who's a bit of a hybrid. And then you've also got, like an Al Ghazi and Keane Ashford for emergencies in that central role. With a Tete, I know like Rhys, for instance, doesn't share my optimism. I just think that someone who's come through Tottenham's academy and someone who's capable of scoring those 2 goals for us last year against Blackburn has got something, technically. Like, technically, I think he's a very good footballer. Do I think he's ready mentally and physically? Probably not. But the way you get that is by playing week in, week out and getting battered about a little bit as a striker. So go into a League One side, playing week in, week out, scoring 10, 15 goals, getting the crap kicked out of him a little bit. It'll be good for him. And I think you could come back and he could be an option. I think Isaac Davis through the middle would be a great option for us at the moment. I think he could be an alternative to Robinson, who's a bit more keen to go in behind. Like, Robinson likes to come deep as well, whereas Isaac will go down the channels, in behind, and I think that's what we need to stretch the pitch.
Yeah,
but yeah, I was speaking to someone earlier. I think we need to get 3, 4, 5 loans in me, because I don't think they're going to give him money, and probably rightly so. You don't give an interim manager millions because he might not be here in the summer.
Yeah,
but let's give him some backing. Maybe get a couple out who we know we're going to get out anyway. Because you don't want an interim manager saying, you don't want him to make any big calls on players, do you really? Because,
no.
He might not be here in the summer. Here's a question for you to finish, mate. Would you have Ryan Wintle back?
No. I don't think he offers much more than what we've already got, to be honest. I don't think, especially if we're going to play in the formation, and that's my opinion only. I think we've got players, better in the squad, and we wouldn't need him back, to be honest. But Who knows? The manager might have a different idea, might see things differently. I don't know. Like I said, I'm just a crazy supporter who sits in the stand and tries to support the best they can.
I don't think he should ever play for Cardiff again.
No, not from some of the things I heard and some of the things that were said behind closed doors, but you know, it is what it is.
What he did, but even without that stuff, mate, what he did publicly, like after that Rotherham game at the end of the season, like Jonathan just says, the only way I ever want to recall him is if we're going to sell him. And he's not good enough to play in our midfield now either. Like, he's not better than Siopis in the holding role, and he's not better than Robertson. All right, I think Joe
he's got a better shot on him than Siopis. Mind you see his shot today? He went up for a throw in.
Yeah, but it's not his role, is it? It's not his job, in fairness to him. But yeah, it was shooting.
Before we go, there's a player Jeff keeps banging on about, and I've never heard of him. I don't know if you have. Luke Pearce.
Yeah, he went on loan to Ireland, and he's obviously come back where the Irish season is finished.
What is he, under 23s or something, is he, or under 21?
Yeah, under 23s. We only signed him fairly recent. I think we signed him like in the summer, and then he went straight out on loan to Ireland, I think. Or it might have been last summer. I might have got my dates picked up. I don't know a great deal about him. I think he did all right in Ireland, though. And like the way I look at it, mate, is he's an option, isn't he? And if he's doing all right,
exactly. If he's if he comes back and puts performances in for the 21s or 23s, then at the end of the day, if he's not banging goals in, then
I guess what he's got to do is he's got to probably get some eye-catching performances in the 21s immediately. I mean, now that he's back. Just having a look now. Yeah, so he joined City's under-21 squad in the summer, in July, and then he went out. He had been previously at Southampton, and then he went straight out on to Sligo. I think if I remember correctly, I think he did all right on loan. He's 20, he's big, strong, quick.
Yeah, Jeff's saying he's crazy. It's quite a lot,
And the 29s and the 19s. Just having a look for his stats now. Yeah, he played 11 games, 2 goals, 1 assist. But he only played about 42% of the minutes. And it was only in the starting 11, about 33%. But, that return is not the worst return. 2 in 11. Because some of those would have been off the bench as well, So, but he's got Reindorf in front of him. He's got Kanga. He's got Mate. He's got Robinson. Like, regardless of what you think of any of those players, they're all in front. And Atete, they're all in front of him, aren't they? From a seniority point of view. I don't agree.
Again, the best thing he can do now is put in consistent performances for the 23s, and like Reindorf have done, really. He was banging the goals in for them, and he's got his opportunity. Granted, it's come a little bit later than we all wanted, but I think even the couple of glimpses that we have seen of him, I think we'd all think that he is young, he has got a lot to work on and develop on, but it's nice to see him have that opportunity to be in the first team and get that experience, really, because for me, it's a massive thing. These youngsters, 18, 19-year-olds, being involved in big championship games is only going to benefit their development and, Cardiff's future, really.
Yeah, I really want to see us give the young players an opportunity, mate. I really do. Quick question to finish, mate. In January, when the transfer window opens, would you recall Joel Colwell?
Ooh, that's a great question. That is a great question. Depending on our injury situation and, again, the loans, I would... If he's going to start most games, then, yeah, bring him back. Otherwise, I wouldn't want to bring him back and he's only playing 10, 15 minutes here and there or every couple of weeks. I'd rather him stay at Cheltenham playing 70, 80 minutes every week. Because by all accounts, he's on fire down there at the moment. And to bring him back and just play 15, 20 minutes a fortnight is is criminal, I think. I just don't think that's going to help develop him. But if he's going to come back and he's going to be starting, which I don't think he probably would at the moment. So, yeah, I'd keep him at Cheltenham, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I agree. I just hadn't. I knew I hadn't spoken to you about it, and I hadn't got your opinion on it, so I was interested. Like, he is. He played as number 10 today. He's played all over. Like, but he's in their starting lineup every week, and a very experienced team. Like in the midfield behind him, he's got Luke Young and Luke Kinsella. So that's an experienced midfield. That is. Chucked another 7 out of 10 in today. Just having a look. Yeah, like. Creative, a couple of shots off, won his duels. He is generally like had a real good season, and look, it is a different level, but he's got to build himself up. It's his first season of playing men's football, and there is a jump up from men's football to from the 21
to the Championship.
Yeah. So, but then there's a jump up from League 2 to the Championship as well. But like, he's gifted, like in terms of like he's so highly rated, mate. At that evening with Darren Pearce, he spoke in glowing terms of him. And that's someone who's spent a lot of time with him and played with him. But I know a couple of guys up London way who are involved in Championship football. One of them's involved with Championship football. One of them's involved with Brentford, and they know about him, and they're like he is a player. So it's just getting him to the physical.
It's making the right decisions for him, innit, really? Because you could look at it and think, right, he's playing in League 2, he's doing really well. Do we keep him there for another 4 or 5 months to the end of the season? Do we bring him back? Maybe if there's a League 1 club looking at him as well, so he goes up that level again. It's a difficult one, really. And, who's to say that he might come back, then go out to a League 1 club, but then not have the same game time. And I'd rather him stay where he is, where he's obviously enjoying his football, playing regular.
More than anything in it, that's important.
Yeah.
So I was just looking on his SOFA score. His average rating out of 10 this season for Cheltenham is just over 7. His highest rating is like an 8.8 out of 10. I think he's got like 5 goals and a couple of assists, but he's also playing in different positions, which is, that's vital to his development as well, so there's lots to it. Louise says she'd recall Wintle as she's gone against the crowd.
Drinking again.
Yeah, I wouldn't, but Jeff says only if he replaces Ruben. Oof, that's a shout. I think long term, having Joel and Alex Robertson as the two, with Ruben in front, is super exciting. I think that's like, especially if we can get
let's not forget what's Joel, 19?
Yeah,
18, 19. So, having that experience now with playing week in, week out at Cheltenham is only going to benefit him. And I don't think, there's no talk of us getting rid of him long term. He is where he is just to help him develop.
20, mate, now.
Oh, is he?
It's but what I will say, mate, is if we can get the best out of Isaac, like get Isaac Davis firing, I think him and Ruben as a kind of like a pair, but not a pair, like with Ruben just behind him, I think they'll fly because they've played together as kids all the way through. If you notice, do you remember last year when what was it? I think it was Birmingham away, and the last sort of part of the game, Ashford played out on the right, Ruben was in the 10, and I think Turnbull was in the 8. And I was at the time, I was like, finally, it's playing deeper. But then the link-up play between Ruben and Ashford, they just knew where each other was going to be all the time because they played together, for years. Like, so if we can get that in the first team, it'll be great. But yeah, I agree with you, mate. If he's not going to be a first team player, like starting, it's more important for him to play week in, week out. But it just shows that he's doing decent because people are talking about him coming back. So We got another Christmas countdown video dropping tomorrow afternoon. Please do check that out. Number 10. If you haven't seen number 11, number 12, check them out on the video. Basically like little stories, taking you through some nostalgia, linking to the numbers, 12-day Christmas countdown, featuring all of the team. I think there's me, Matt, Terry Phillips, Rhys, Rob, Pan, Martin, Jamie. There's also some familiar faces popping up in there as well. So yeah, check them out. Tomorrow is a good one. We'll have those every day until Christmas, and then we'll even have a podcast on Christmas Day, which we recorded previously. I will be back tomorrow with the breakdown, where we'll have a good old look at the today's game and some of the statistics, as well as talking the latest news. But
I'll be back Monday night with Rob and Rhys for a member show, guys. So you can see at the bottom of the screen, to become a member of Cardiff City World, there's a link there to the Patreon, and you can do it through Patreon and YouTube now. Am I right, Si?
Yeah. So you can join patreon.com/ACEpodcastNation, which is actually better for me better for we get a bigger cut of Patreon than we do YouTube. But either way, or you can just join directly through YouTube just by hitting that join. We've had a few extra members in this week, which is good. So long may that continue. Helps us build, helps us continue doing stuff, helps us bring you content 7 days a week. Talking all things Cardiff City, but
Gavin Gordon's with us again on Wednesday night as well, guys, for the Flower Hour.
Good old Gav. I love
Good old Gav. The thing I like about Gav as well is, all the social media stuff and that, all the social media posts and things, and the videos you put out. He likes them or comments on them, which I think is brilliant.
He loves stuff, mate. Loves it.
Yeah, and he's such a nice guy to talk to. So it'll be interesting to have a chat with him and just to see what his thoughts are. I think Lincoln are doing pretty well. I think they won their FA Cup game last weekend against Crawley, and I think they're about 8th or 9th in the league as well at the moment. So, yeah, it'd be interesting to have a catch-up with Gav.
Indeed. I will say, by the way, if people do join the membership on YouTube, can you shoot one of us a message? Only because, for some reason, unless people join if people join during the show, it comes up with a notification on the streaming software. But if you just join afterwards, we don't get a notification. So the other day, I think it was Paul joined, and I didn't know about it until a week later, because it doesn't give me a notification about it, whereas on Patreon it does. But yeah, if you do join, just let us know somehow, just so we can.
Some of the new members have joined the WhatsApp group as well. So
yeah, top lads.
Big shout out to Evan.
Yeah, I think Evan and Kayak and a couple of others. Yeah, appreciate you massively. So check out the Christmas countdown tomorrow. Come back for the breakdown tomorrow. I'm on a Sheffield United podcast tomorrow as well. Busy days. I might ask you to do that, mate, actually. What are you doing tomorrow at 5 o'clock?
Ring me in the morning.
Oh, I need a decision now.
Can't, man. I don't know.
No, I know you've got kids, man. It's fine. It's fine. I've already agreed to do it, but it's got a lot going on. But it's all good, mate. Right. We'll see you soon. Make sure you tell your friends, spread the word, tell everyone Cardiff City World, 7 days a week, talking all things Cardiff City, support the boys and all that stuff. And we'll be back soon. Take it easy. Maybe we'll get to 1,000 subscribers by 2025.
Keep sharing the love, guys.
Well, we got 2 weeks to get 250. I think it's probably a long shot, but we'll keep going. Take it easy. In a bit.